came by. Can you hear me? First of all, can you hear me? I'm so proud that you've come by this afternoon to hear my story. My name is Sarah Alexander Baker, better known as Sallie. I was born January the 20th in 1872 in Greene County. My parents were Judge Herschel Clay and Dorothy Lyle Baker. Now, we lived a short time in Louisville before we moved to Columbia. And when we moved to Columbia, we moved out on Burkesville Street, just on the outskirts of town, and that's where I lived the rest of my life. I attended the male and female high school, and after I graduated, I was a teacher there for several years. I was a faithful member of the Presbyterian Church. It was just in walking distance of my home, and I was a Sunday school teacher there for many years. I was an accomplished musician and a talented artist. I loved art. I never married, and I never had children. I was civic-minded. I loved to host parties in my home. I would have tea parties, garden parties, and rook parties, and I always served refreshments. And I was a charter member of the Women's Club here. Well, in 1939, there was an organization in Kentucky called the Daughters of the American Revolution. Now, I was 68 years old at that time, and I was really interested in knowing more about this organization and how we could get a chapter started here. So myself and some ladies in the town wanted to know what it took to get a chapter started. And so on November the 22nd, 1939, I had a meeting in my home, and the vice regent of the Kentucky DAR from Burkesville came and talked to us, explained to us how we could get this chapter started, what was needed at a state and national level. So officers were elected at that meeting, and I was the regent. It was a lengthy meeting. We had refreshments, but there was one thing that we needed, was a name for the chapter. So the next week, we had another meeting to come up with a name for the chapter. And it was called the Jane Lampton Chapter, Daughters of the American Revolution, after Mark Twain's mother, who was born and lived here. Well, then after all the papers were sent in and it was approved, we were organized as official as a chapter, and we were organized on March the 20th, 1940, and I was the regent. Well, we were the 50th chapter in the state of Kentucky at that time, and we were so excited. We were so excited that we had a chapter. We would often meet in my home and other members' homes. We would meet sometimes in surrounding counties that had chapters, and we would meet a lot of times at the Meadow Hill Inn. Well, when you became a regent then, you could only serve 2 years. So when my term was up, of course, other regents came in. The chapters continued to grow. At one time, we had 40 members. And then we would do good things. We would place flags on graves. We would send Christmas cards to the military that was active overseas. We always celebrate Constitution Week, and just done a lot of good things. Well, the year of 1953, after my term was up and other regents had come in 1953, my health was failing, and by then I was 81 years old, and I couldn't breathe good. And so October the 31st, 1953, I passed away, and I was laid to rest here by my parents. What I had, they said it was a breathing problem, and it was called fibrosis, pulmonary fibrosis. So the chapter did really good, and as right now, the chapter regent right now is somebody you might know at the moment. It's somebody by the Ernestine Bennett. Do you all know her?
Wait,
Okay.
Who is it?
Our chapter is still doing good. It sends Christmas cards overseas to active military. Last year we sent 131 Christmas cards. We still put flags on graves. We participate in literacy. We really are big on that. We every year at graduation we give away 2 certificates and medals to graduating seniors that have participated in the ROTC or the Cadet Corps. So if there's any of you ladies in the group would like to know more about the DAR, you can stop by the Genealogy Center, and there's all kinds of material there, and there'll be somebody there to help you if you would like to find a patriot to join. And with that, I would like to say thank you all so much for listening to my story.